Hello. It always tickles me. I click the button to go live and it takes forever to go live. Same at the end. When we go at the end, I go click the button to go off and it takes forever. So anyway, um, these are what we're turning. I've got, I was telling Wayne and Ruby a minute ago, I've got loads and loads of these oak pen blanks. I was given uh, three pieces of a church pew that I have sliced up and made pen blanks with. We'll probably cut a couple, make a couple plates out of a couple pieces, and then slice up the rest for pen blanks. So anyway, I've got a load of those, and what we're going to do with them today is this. We're going to make some stick ornaments. I think I had originally put on there that we're going to do angels. We'll save the angels for later, but we're going to do these. This is that same oak pen blank. Um, I've painted the head black, or excuse me, the hat black, the head gold, and the body is red with a little gold finial at the bottom. And I'll spray a little clear finish on there, put a hook in the top, and those will go on the tree. In about 10-15 minutes, I turned two of these, painted one, and resharpened my skews. So they don't take long. They're a quick and easy project. Um, I've already said, but let's bring in my friends and we'll introduce everybody. There's Ruby
Evening.
Claire and
Evening.
Wayne Clasper. These guys are going to be helping out, reading the chat, letting me know who all's here. And so we'll just have a grand time and we're going to turn, depends on the time, we'll turn two or three of these ornaments and then a couple of different styles. And then we may have some Q&A time at the end. So while I finish getting myself together, I'm going to let these guys argue over who's going to read out the chat.
Well, that'll be a short argument.
Yep.
What argument? We don't argue, do we, Wayne?
We definitely do not, Ruby. We do
Nope.
not.
Ruby
We
just
might
says
have
you're
a
going to do it.
we might have a discussion or two, but we never argue.
That's because
Okay.
we're easy to get along with. All three of us.
Okay. The first person I've got in the chat is Frederick Day. He's saying good evening from a very much colder, damp and wet day in Kent, UK. Current temperature is 14 degrees C. We've had it not so bad up here today, Frederick. It's been sunny and showery with a bit of breeze as well, but not too bad at all. And I am in, by the way. I don't usually type in anything in the chat, but I am here. Obviously, Ruby's here, Zed's here. And I'm going to have problems because the chat's already jumping. Ronald Todd is here. Todd at Glen Cove. Roger Kent. Roger Woolham. Oh, Weeval's in. Hey, Weeval. Roger Kent has said, very good. We're having some cooler weather, but need some rain. Well, at the moment, the weather forecast for the UK in general is that we have got a weather system coming down from the north. So temperatures are going to be feeling around about 10 degrees C cooler than what they have been. Al's in. Hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
How you doing, Al? Yeah, I agree with the idea of rain. We need rain here terribly bad. It still has not rained. I did mow just to knock down the weed tops and to get the dead leaves out of the yard. But I really didn't need. I did not need to mow. I created more dust than I did anything.
Right. Todd said that they had rain all around them last week, but they only got below half an inch in total.
Mm.
Tim Ponder's in. And Rob from Copper Owl's here. Deal, Old Man River is in.
And Jamie has joined us. Hi, Jamie.
Oh, he must be way down on my list. He usually is. Yeah, my chat's just jumped again. And Rich is in as well. Rich Bulldog is in as well. Evening,
Hey,
Rich.
Rich.
And Alex J. from sunny California.
Yeah, just got that one. And there's Jamie. I've finally gotten down to Jamie.
We were just
So,
saying, Jamie, we were surprised you and Paul Finley basically had the same project. His was just a little larger than yours, is all. Love seeing those hinge boxes put together, though. It's awfully nice.
Anthony Green's just come in as well. No, I won't forget you, Anthony. I found you.
Jimmy's box came out really quite nice.
It really did.
Looks like Frederick's been having a lot of rain.
Well, we definitely haven't. The other night, I wouldn't have been surprised if it snowed because temperature dropped cold enough I had to put the heat on in the house. And now today it's back in the 80s. Oh dear.
Zed's
Zed-
off. Zed has started. Go on, Ruby. I'll let you do this one.
He said he was at the airport and saw a guy pass out and fall onto the baggage carousel. He slowly came around.
Mm.
Oh, life.
Mm.
Was that a groan, Doug?
Oh, bad, bad, bad. All right. Um, I think I've said before, when you're making stuff, use the tool that you're comfortable with. A couple of years ago when I started making snowmen, I kind of got determined that I was going to get used to my skew, so I used it exclusively. And now it's still not my tool of preference, but it's a tool that I don't shy away from at all. In fact, I've now got three skews. I've got a 1 inch, this half-inch that I've used on this piece. Then I've got a little 1/4 inch.
Those
That
are very handy.
yeah, that little 1/4 inch. I really had not thought of a 1/4 inch until I saw Steve Twaddell do a project where he did about 80% of the project with a 1/4 inch skew.
Do you use any skews with a round body or not?
Yes.
My 1 inch is an oval. I don't have a round one. I've been recently thinking about one. All right, there is the shape done. And because I tend to do these in production so that I'm trying to get them done. I try to get them done kind of as quick as I can so that I can put them in a store for a decent price. Um, I don't even slow the lathe down.
When you paint them, what are you painting them with?
Um, the black I typically have, well, I've got a full bottle of acrylic. It's not tempera paint, but it's about that scale of paint. Just a black. It's almost a gesso, but
Okay.
not quite. And then the red and the gold are water-based inks. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show you here in just a second. Let me. This is some 180 grit sandpaper. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. In fact, I'm right now done as far as the paint or the sanding goes.
Right, doing a production line like this, would it not be easier to have a small spur center in the headstock.
Yes,
So
it
that
would.
way, so that way you wouldn't even have to turn the lathe off.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Wayne.
Couple of jokes just come in. Todd at Glen Clover says, "Why don't they wear glasses in football? Because it's a contact sport."
That's nice, Doug.
So there's one, and we're in. Well, get back over here, and we're at 10:35. Now there is a tiny hole right there from the live center, but that's my mark now for drilling before I put the little screw eye in.
Little
And
screw.
then
Yeah,
whether
excellent.
I whether I sell it like this or paint it, I was telling Ruby a while ago we were talking about prices of a couple things, and unfinished, just like that. Maybe put a little oil on it, maybe just to give it a little bit of life.
The
Um,
thing is, the thing is about the unfinished. You don't even have to put, or the unpainted, I should say. You don't even have to put a finish on there because they can be sold as
As is.
finishes, home. Let your kids finish them at home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, and I can sell those. I would not. I'm thinking if I could get 6 or even 10 of those done in an hour, um, I could sell them at a pretty reasonable price, and so
Yeah.
people could buy half a dozen for their children and grandchildren.
Do you want
Or
to
Now,
check?
I don't know if it's your mask or not, but your audio is breaking up a little bit, Doug.
okay,
Just check where you have it placed.
yeah. What I'm finding is if I have my face shield all the way down, that if I talk too loudly, it seems like that's what causes that. So I just have to remember to take it easy. All right, there's a snowman. That's the one. That's the one we just did. Get on the right camera here. So and like I said, I can take that acrylic paint, do the head black, use my acrylic ink, and do the gold, red, and I like to do this little ball down here gold as well. That's what I did on this other one, and they seem to come out pretty nice. I think I'd like another coat of the gold on there, but that's got 2 coats on it, and it looks pretty good. But when it gets a little lacquer on it, that all the color and everything comes to life. And so, but that's one idea. That's just one idea. Let's see about a whole nother idea here.
So
Rob the
Zed
Rob
has
the
said,
Go ahead.
sorry, go on.
Rob the professor has joined us.
Evening, Rob. Zed has said, my wife asked me to take her to somewhere expensive, so we went to the gas station.
It's a good place. Raymond Wise
Um,
has joined us. Good evening,
Hi,
Raymond.
Ray.
Hey, Raymond.
Jamie has said the man who invented knock knock jokes should get a Nobel Prize.
A
Fred,
Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize, yeah.
Fred says
Um,
that he tends to enjoy coloring wood and uses stains even though he flushes out his airbrush every time. He finds that
Yeah,
acrylics always block it.
yeah, I've got to say, whenever I'm using airbrush, even though you can get acrylics that can go straight into the airbrush, I tend to use stains rather than acrylics.
And Rich is commenting that those jaws are very pretty.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And I
well,
meant to say something about that.
Rich Wood.
Yeah, those are the new dome jaws from Nova.
Yes, and
They
I've
uh,
got a set now.
they work a treat. I really, when I use them, when I have the opportunity to use them, I really like them. And they work perfectly for these pin blanks.
And Mike from Dances with Aardvarks is here.
And I
Evening, Mike.
Mike did an excellent series on doing that 5-sided star that he turned, and they came out wonderful.
Oh, he's just when it comes to mathematics and geometry, he just comes from somewhere else.
Yes, yes. And you're exactly right. It's the geometry. He takes the time to work it out and figures out exactly what he needs, and it works out tremendously. I've loved watching all the different pieces.
Now you're doing this one the reverse of how you did the first one.
Well, sort of. I mean, the top is still up here.
Oh, okay. Zed says he has a memory like an etch a sketch. If he shakes his head, he forgets everything.
How much I understand that.
Yeah, my memory's like a goldfish. It lasts about a minute.
Hmm.
Nigel Harvey has just joined us. Welcome, Nigel.
Evening, Nigel.
Just so you know, Doug's now on his second snowman.
Well, this one's not a snowman. This is not a snowman. We're just gonna have fun with some beads and coves and V grooves and what have you. My brother-in-law, of course, he and my sister come every year for Christmas, and so he likes the lathe. In fact, my dad and I have given him a lathe, and he enjoys it quite a bit. Um, but he started doing these little things one year, and was going to give them away, and people started saying, "No, no, no, I'm going to buy it." And so he makes just little random turnings that he sells as Christmas ornaments, and people buy them like crazy. And it really can be a beginner's project without any problem.
And good practice for doing beads and coves.
It
Sure,
is
it
good
is.
practice, and when you're turning something this thin as well, it's also good practice for doing finials, different shapes
Yeah.
of finials as well.
Ward Wilson has joined us from Arizona. Hi, Ward.
Hey,
And
Ward.
and so is Andy Door 60.
All right, Andy.
Yeah.
Good to see you again today.
Well, one of my favorite tools for doing beads in particular is my 3/8 beading parting tool and my 16th of an inch Badan.
A 16th of an inch.
16th of an inch.
You can get very nice small beads with it.
I'd say. My word,
Okay.
that is tiny.
Well, when I'm copying spindles that somebody else has done, there's a lot of times that's the only tool that'll fit in and do it really well.
I understand. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Just taking some, just random shapes, kind of. Let's go ahead and make a mark down here so I know where I'm aiming at.
No, Jamie, a Badan isn't something used in the bathroom.
Oh, Jimmy.
When I come over, I'll have to straighten you out, Jamie.
Now, Vinny has said, and I'm sure this is for the UK, that he rang Turner's Retreat last week, and those jaws are not available until October.
That's interesting because I was able to get them here in Canada.
The Nova Dome jaws.
Correct. For the Nova Chuck.
Okay, I'm glad you're able to get them. That's good.
Yeah, Woodworkers Specialties in BC had them. And
Okay.
that was because Rich told me where to get them. Yes, Jamie, I promise you a good time, even though I'm old enough to be your mother or grandmother. And Zed says the bidan can be for the sedan. Okay.
All right. Let's just kind of stop right there. And
Yeah, if you don't, you're not going to be able to sand it.
well, that's one of the neat things. They don't take a lot.
And Jake's just come in. Evening, Jake.
Hey, Jake. We are talking about Jake Thompson, right? Yeah, okay.
Yep,
Right.
it is.
Very good. Hey, Jake. Just a quick little sand with some 180. Again, doesn't
And
take a lot.
Jake has just said he's just come over to keep Jamie under control. Well, I've got to say, Jake, you've had a lot of years trying to do that, and it hasn't worked yet.
Tom Kenny just joined us. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Tom. From cool Florida. Yeah, I love the meme that I've been seeing here recently. It says it's September. Fall has arrived. How's it go? I'm going the wrong way with that. That's what's happening. Um, but here in Florida, it's still 95 and 80% humidity, so nothing's changed. That's what I thought. I went too thin.
Lucy's just come in, and Malcolm Douglas has just come in as well.
Hi, Lucy. Welcome.
Howdy, 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 howdy. Glad to have everybody. So what I'll do, since I went too thin on this bottom end, I'll just I'll put my sanding mandrel in here, and I'll just sand this top off, get it nice and clean and flat, and do the same thing. I'll put my little screw eye in the top of there, and that'll be that. Okay, there's 2 done. Let's see about number 3. This when this happens, it feels like Wayne's turning a bowl.
Oh, dear.
Oh yeah, Ruby. We used to make all kind of fun and people asking crazy questions, trying to get Wayne to slow down just a little bit, and it usually didn't happen.
Well, once you get a procedure down pat, it becomes automatic, so it's hard to slow down.
This is true. This is true. And Wayne is so proficient with his tools that yeah, the wood just disappears.
Thank you, Doug.
Zed
Cheers.
says that a friend of his was struck by lightning. He did go to the hospital, but he has been discharged.
Oh, my life.
Very good.
Oh, Todd said a B-29 just flew over my house. What a wonderful engine sound. I wonder if we can flew on one of those in World War II. Oh, cheers, Todd. You're all heart, mate.
What are we going to do with these youngsters, Wayne?
I don't know. I was probably fixing them, not flying them.
No, I was probably painting them.
There we go. It's once you get comfortable with the skew, I mean that's that quickly. We got all those corners off. It's round. In fact, let me shut it off, and you can see just how it really is round. There's no flats left. Just that quick. Now it's not smooth because all I did was I just peeling away. So now we'll make it smooth. Just a pass or two is all it'll take.
So Zed has said that Wayne didn't serve in World War II. He was too old. Oh, God.
And Alex says, you know why they are called dad jokes? It's apparent.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Ward Wilson has said, I heard a man was kidnapped by a troop of mimes. They did unspeakable things to him.
Yes.
And Mike says that a Roman chariot just thundered past his house. He's not even asking, Wayne.
Oh, my life.
And Fred says that most of his time in the Army was working with the RAF on airfields all over the world.
Most of my time in the army was spent drinking.
I was wondering about that.
Oh, no comment.
The British Army, the toughest alcoholics in the world. You get in at 5:30 in the morning after a night out, and you go for a 5-mile run at 6 o'clock. Yeah, nothing like it.
Burns it off quick.
All right, let's see. I have this thing about using my imagination. I'm not. I have an imagination. I think everybody has an imagination. My issue is tapping into it. I don't tap into mine very well. Now, you show me a picture or give me an example.
Lucy has said, Wayne, the hangover can be cured by a bacon sarnie from the naffy. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Lucy. Totally agree with that. The thing is, Doug,
And
is
just
that I don't. A lot of the time, when it comes, especially when it comes to colouring work on the stuff that I do,
Mm-hmm.
I don't tend to use my imagination. I tend to use inspiration from what other people have done.
Sure.
There's a good few wood turners that I get inspiration from. Gary Lowe is one when it comes to colouring and texturing. Mick Hanbury is another one when it comes to colouring and piercing and texturing. But a lot of the time, I tend to look at art channels on YouTube.
Right. Um. Um. I heard somebody. In fact, it may have been Jake. I think it was on the Makers podcast, Creative Makers podcast, where somebody was talking about they watch a lot of folks in doing other kinds of things, and that just made a lot of sense to me. And so I'm starting to watch some folks other than Turners to get some ideas of different things to do. I did turn a. Mhm. I'm hesitating because I'm not real sure what to call it. Um, I copied it from uh, Gary Asher, Papa 1947. He turned what he called a knuckle bone. Comes from an old game that he played as a kid. Um, and that was a super interesting, to me, it was an interesting turn. I just really enjoyed doing it. Again, it was a beginner's type of turning. So it was not a problem. I think I did it from start to finish in about 40 or 45 minutes. And it's in the other room where I show it to you. But
Malcolm says he's finding ideas from glass forms at the moment.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, the thing is that the turning that I do tends to be very basic turning. I just tend to add embellishments.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and what I tend to do is, like I say, look at different art channels and try and develop what they're doing into something that I can do on wood.
Yeah. Heather has joined us. Hi,
Hey,
Heather.
Hey,
Heather.
Heather.
You
Yeah,
know,
hits the water drop.
Yeah, yeah. Originally, the water drop came from an article in the Turner magazine, and I think I said this last week. And then it was I forget his name again. Somebody down in the west, in the southwest, who did a video on it. Then I decided to try it, but then I decided to look at other water drop forms on different art channels. And like I said last week, the amount of 3D stuff you can do with water drop is untrue. It really is. All you've got to do is be careful when you're doing it.
Right?
see, when I started doing water drops, I learned to do them with an airbrush. And you did the individual drops. So if you wanted just a single drop,
See, now one of the best ones I've seen was from a woodturner who is retired, and he's doing more stick making now. Is David Lowe from Yorkshire? And what he did, he used a Japanese technique, and I can't remember the name of that now. But it actually what you do is you use steam to raise the grain on the wood, or you press the wood in first, then use steam, then sand it down, and then as the wood dries out, it actually becomes actual 3D.
Ah,
right? I've done that where we've taken well, like a Robertson, not a Robertson, screwdriver and pounded it into the wood to compress it, and then wet it and heated it and let it come back up, and it actually comes up further than it started.
That's right. It gives the 3D. It's used a lot in. It's used more in wood carving than wood turning. There is a proper Japanese name for it, and I just can't remember it. But it's very, very effective.
Now, Doug, Fred's saying that that's begging for a captive ring on it.
well, I happen to have another. Well, I've got loads of them, but I happen to have another pin blank sitting right here. So, but I think
And
I
the
need
thing,
another.
and the thing is about doing a captive ring on something this sort of size. Doug doesn't need to actually change tools. He can still use his
Oh
skew
yeah.
chisel to do the captive ring.
You know, on something like this, you could also take those three small easy wood tools and just play with them.
Yes. All right. Yeah, just producing a little bit of smoke with a piece of wire is amazing. Or you can use, like I did a week or two ago, use a piece of Formica sample. That works extremely well. Just press it into the groove. And just like with the wire, you wait for the smoke to arrive, and when it does, you're done.
You've just got to be careful with doing that with formica because it can produce cyanide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's best to have your extractor on.
Yeah. Nigel, what you do is you take a screwdriver that's got a shaped end and Phillips maybe. You pound it into the wood. It works best on a soft wood so that you've made that imprint of the screwdriver in the top. And then you soak the wood, get it good and wet, and then heat it. And that area will raise up, and it'll raise up actually taller than what it was when you pounded it in.
It does work amazingly well. I can't remember if David Lowe actually put any videos out on it. Um, he has got a few videos on YouTube, but it's usually from demonstrations he's done at wood turning clubs.
Well, that was a technique used in the olden days for when you get a piece of furniture in to refinish, and it had an indent in it from where somebody banged it with something, and you would just steam that area, and that would raise it back up, and then you'd sand it smooth.
Yeah, one of the best examples I saw was in a piece of wood carving, where the technique was used, and it was the part of the video was I think it was wood carving the back of a hand, and that technique was used to actually raise the veins up in the hand.
Mm, mm. That sounds interesting. That sounds like something to play with. I know it'll work. I've seen it.
Right, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I've just got to go for a comfort break, which is
Well,
something I've got to say Ruby did before we started, which was a good idea.
while you're gone, put the kettle on, Wayne, so I can make a tea when you come back.
There you go. There you
Well,
go.
back when I did flat work stuff, before I started turning, I used to make a lot of chairs, cupboards, cabinets, and stuff like that, picture frames. Um, those were a lot of the techniques I picked up from way back then. We're talking about going
Sure.
back
Yeah.
to the 60s and 70s.
Even some of the refinishing work that's done, people will do something very similar, um, where there's a dent in a tabletop or in a chair arm, um, using using hot water in a rag. Um,
And Jamie just said that he's bought his tickets to Harrogate so that
all
he
right.
isn't going to miss out on a good time with a rowdy Canadian.
That ought to work.
Yeah, I got word from a friend about someone who went back to England and gave me quite a reputation as a drinker. Not mentioning any names.
That reminds me, I need to send a couple of emails off on your behalf.
Oh dear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yes, I do. I want to rectify this border thing.
Yeah, I do need to look into it. It's just paying the 2 grand a year to get back into the States annoys me.
Well, I don't think that should have to happen. I think there's a way to get
Right, I'm
around
back.
that. Good to have you back. Um, I think there's a way we can get around that, Ruby. I'm gonna send some emails off to some people, including one that I've got a cousin who's not in Washington, but he's been in politics in Florida for years, and has been considered for some Washington posts. And so I'll start with him, and then our local representatives here. Surely I can find somebody who has enough pull that they can get something done.
Well, the main reason I'd like to go back is to see a lot of my friends that are in the States.
Well, sure, sure. And there's no reason we have such between Canada and the U.S. We have great relations. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to cross back and forth.
Well, one thing I miss is I used to go down and compete in the DuPont World Golf Championships in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I did win the women's section and placed second overall. And out of 9,000 golfers, I thought I was doing okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I don't know if I've missed out on the chat very much. But Frederick Deer said Feng Mu is the art of steaming wood. There are other names as well. That wasn't the name that I was thinking of, I've got to say.
Yeah, Feng Mu is a little bit different for bending wood.
Right. Jamie said he was drinking so much at one Maker Central he could hardly speak, or he spoke too much so fast that even the English couldn't understand him, including me. I remember that night very well. I
And
was
Mike,
I was actually sitting talking with Bobby. God, I forget his wife's name. Oh, that's terrible. I was sitting talking to Bobby Dukes and his wife that night. And Jamie came down to have a chat, and he opened his mouth, and this just spur of words came out. I don't know if there were sentences or not, but Nicole, yeah, thank you, Jamie. I was Bobby and Nicole I was speaking to, and Jamie came over to have a chat, and I think me and Bobby just looked at each other because neither of us could understand what on earth he was saying.
well, I was at a meeting of the Society of Ornamental Turners in London one year, and I was sitting at a table with about 8 fellows, and I was just listening to the conversation, and the chap beside me said, "Do you understand what they're saying?" And I said, "Nope, I haven't got a clue." He said, "Don't." He said, "Don't feel bad." He said, "I'm English, and I haven't got a clue what they're saying either." And Mike suggests that I just tell your customs I'm Venezuelan. And Zed asks if you heard about the stuttering convict. He never finished his sentence.
Oh my life!
There were 3 or 4 times today when my mother looked over at my father and said, "Okay, finish your sentence." He was having a tough time this morning.
Yeah, Jamie is following up with what I was saying earlier on about being in Maker Central. Um, Jamie had now Jake was across that year as well. Jake Thompson was across that year as well, and they'd hired a car and they went on a tour and everything. They actually came up to me and spent a night here as well. But at that particular night at Maker Central, I think it was either I can't remember if it was it might have been Doug from Easy Wood Tools said, "Can you store everything and make sure it gets back to us?" And they agreed. So now Jake doesn't drink, which was a huge bonus. But Jamie had a few, and he actually went out to the car park on a regular basis and took photographs of the car to make sure nobody was breaking into it because he had
Oh my!
they actually had a car full of Easy Wood Tools that had to be sent back to the States.
I don't blame
Wow.
them for being worried about them. I mean, I have my van half packed right now for a demonstration I've got to do next week, and I make sure it's locked all the time.
I bet. There we go. Took a while, but we got through it. Now to clean
Yeah,
up the.
that was just for Fred, right?
That's right.
You know,
And that
your easy wood detailer would do that undercut really nicely.
Yeah, and I've got to say that shows how easy it is to do a captive ring just using the skew. I did I did do a live video. This is probably about 3 or 4 years ago now, showing different ways you can do a captive ring using ordinary tools, using tools that are made to do it as well.
Well, when I
I s-
started making them, we didn't have any choice because there weren't any tools for making them.
Yeah.
You used a skewer, you didn't use anything.
You could always use a spindle gouge.
Yeah, it only gets you so far.
All right. I did switch over to my little 1/4 inch. It just helped me get underneath it a little easier.
That is a cute tool, I have to admit.
Ever since I've made it, I've been surprised at how handy it has been. My skew is starting to get dull on this oak. Get a little, in fact, I can do it over here so y'all can see it's not that hard to hone them and get them refreshing just a little bit. Here's my 400 grit diamond hone, and I'll rock my skew on it just to find the bevel. Get it sit on there so it's nice and solid. And then just rub back and forth, keeping that bevel on there. A few strokes there, and I'll flip it over, find the bevel, stroke it a few times. That should be all I need, just to refresh that edge.
And Karsten's joined us. Good evening, Karsten.
Hi,
Hey,
Karsten.
Karsten.
You'll have to show Karsten the first figure you made. And you've just turned over 47 minutes.
Okay.
Nigel has said he's got a boot full of Japanese foxglove. Does anyone know if it's good? I take it good to turn or not. I've got no idea, Nigel. It's something I've never turned.
Can't say I've turned it either.
Now, Frederick has said he's used a bent masonry nail before and shaped on a CBN wheel. Yeah, I've used Allen keys, sharpened Allen keys.
Yeah, I've used those quite a bit. They were good for Halloween's very small things as well.
They are the likes of Christmas ornaments.
Yep.
And Zed's just put his link up for his premiere later on tonight.
Good deal.
He's doing the eucalyptus hollow form.
All right.
Good, Zed.
I like your eucalyptus stuff. It's a nice wood.
Yes,
Let's see. I'm not real pleased with this. I need a little more definition there. There we go.
And Karsten, what he's doing now, he started out with formal shapes, and now he's going to where he's just experimenting with beads and coves and throwing them together on a spindle to create his ornaments.
Yeah. Let's see.
And the best part is there's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
Before you get too thin, I might want to sand if I were you.
Well, yeah, I need to sand just a little bit because of that ring. I wasn't going to sand this one. That ring,
Oops.
So I don't guess I will. It really doesn't need much. Just a little hand sanding will take care of that.
Now, if people are doing captive rings and they want to sand the inside of the captive ring, the best thing to do, I have found, is to actually use some CA glue and put on glue a small piece of abrasive paper onto the CA glue, and then you can actually sand the inside of the captive ring.
Yes, and it works extremely well.
I just use sandpaper that's got like a cloth back I cut a narrow strip, I twist it, thread it through the captive ring, and then sand it from the outside that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. So
Just to recap so far, let me do. And there's 3 of these at the tops will have to be sanded on the sanding mandrel here in just a little bit. But we've done those in a matter of 51 minutes plus talking. So as you can see, they go by very quick. And Ruby, that answers our question. There's 6. I'm sure I could do 10 in an hour without any problem. So
I'm sure you could.
turn around and sell those unfinished for $5 a piece. Of course, like that one, and that one will need their top sanded. This one will need a little extra hand sanding, just because. Painting them, add another couple of dollars. But Wayne's got a great idea. Mark them as project pieces and sell them for children and grandchildren, and so you've had then, you make a couple of dollars for your shop fund, and you've had practice with your skew and become proficient with that, sort of, kind of, not really, but
Almost.
but honestly, it's like everything else. The more you practice, the more proficient you become with it.
You
I
hit a
still
button there, don't roll on screen.
Yes, I meant to.
All right,
I meant
okay.
to.
All
Um,
right, so, right.
I've,
On the other hand, you could have done half a dozen bowls.
yeah. There we go.
Nigel says he put some double-sided tape on the spindle with a strip of sandpaper on it, and I've done that, and that works very well as well.
Yeah. There's several ways to do it. If you're doing larger pieces like a goblet, you pull all your rings, 1, 2, 3, however many you do, all to one side. Put a little small strip of sandpaper on there, tape it down, and then you can do that inside without any problem.
Yeah.
This was, well, there it is. This one, in all candor, that is the honest to goodness, that's the very first. There we go. That's the very first captive ring I've ever done. I've never done one before. What's that about practice before you do it, Wayne?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
That was pretty good for a first try. Just
Yeah.
imagine what it's going to be like once you've tried 10 or 15 of them.
I'm kind of like Pete. They don't need to be illegal, but why?
Yeah, Pete doesn't like captive rings either.
At all. Not at all. It's just one of those why things. The only time I think I might do another one would be if a friend was getting married, and I might do them a wedding goblet, put 2, and then make them interlocking.
Interlocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll spit the word out in a minute. But those look pretty good, and that has a reason why you're doing it. Unlike that the only reason to do that was just to practice and doing it. So whatever. But I'll paint a couple of these. I'll put either a light coat of walnut oil on them or a quick spray of sanding sealer, something like that. Well, that'll be all that I'll do with ones I'm going to leave unfinished. And then people can put the puff paint, whatever, put faces on them, decorate them up. But I'll also have like a few of those so that they see a nice example of something that can be done with the gold, the black, and the red.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Any other questions? We haven't.
Not at the moment. Any questions, anybody? Stick them in the chat.
We've got a few minutes, so jump right in. Do go and see Zed after a while.
I picked up a couple good ideas I can use when I demo next week.
Sure.
Ruby. Now, Ruby showed us a couple of tea lights before we started. You want to show them, Ruby?
Sure. So there's kind of a variety of them here.
Mm-hmm. Those are so nice.
And they've got a little mirror on the very top on the inside, right up inside there. And when you turn it on, it reflects the light back out through the inside.
Very smart.
So that would make them a good bit brighter, I'm sure, having that mirror. Excuse me, having
And
that mirror in there.
you can practice your texturing and down in the bottom and a little bit of your wood burning if you want.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's excellent. That's excellent. Just another idea for those ornaments. Ruby did mention the detail tool from Easy Wood, and I just wanted to show you. They make two. This is one of them. It has the more of a rounded point, or I would have grabbed mine real quick. They make another one that is pointed, and it is a sharp point. You look at it and you're
Yes,
bleeding.
it is.
Uh,
It
Well,
is a very sharp point.
that's why I suggested that one, because the rounded tip going underneath the captive ring would have been left a smooth finish without sort of jamming into the wood.
so you were thinking the rounded one. Okay.
Yeah.
You said that, and I was thinking the pointed one, which lets you get into a much narrower spot. But like Ruby said, it would leave a little bit of an edge on the inside. Yeah, I'll try that sometime, maybe.
Nigel has said, nice bit of skew work, Doug. He's
Thank you very
enjoyed
much.
what you've done tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
thought it
so
was
much.
a good live.
Heather says, "Can you do it again?" Do what again? Oh, people
All
are
of it.
interrupting her.
Demo, of
I
course.
understand, Heather. Yes, she's at work, so yes, you can watch it later when you get home, and I'll do it all again then, just for you. Oh, it is. It's an awful lot of fun. That's somebody else, folks. If y'all aren't watching Heather at Spirit Wind Wood, Stone and Bone, you need to go look at her channel. She does some very nice work.
She really does.
Yeah,
She's come a long ways.
absolutely. Um, Karsten's made a couple of those. What? You lost. Oh, the
No,
the
no,
light,
he's
the
light.
yeah,
lantern.
he's talking
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
tea
yeah, yeah,
lights.
yeah. I got lost in it all here for just a second, but anyway, Sweet Potato is going to watch it properly later. Okay, Lucy, thank you so much. Having to sort out Andy's phone. That sounds about normal. That was one of the tasks I had to do at my parents' house yesterday. I spent, golly, hour and a half getting Dad's email back on his computer. He could get it on his phone, but it wasn't on his computer. He had a new hard drive put in, and when they put that in, everything was lost. And so it was all a matter of resetting his password to the same password.
Yeah.
And so once I did that, everything was golden. I tried changing it 2 or 3 times, and it said I was successful. And then when I tried it, it didn't work. Well, somehow it was locked up on the old password. And so I had to go in and just reset it as the same old password. And life was golden then. So it
Well,
was great.
that was kind of like me earlier today, adding a Fire Stick to my TV and having to try and get that all set and which channels I wanted.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Been watching, or not watching, been seeing some ads for these homemade antennas that'll let you see everything that's broadcast. So all the local channels within a certain range, whatever that range is, plus anything else. And I haven't watched broadcast TV in over a year now. Haven't had it. I cut the cable. Not on a current. I'm not on a paid streaming process at all. So I'm all about free right now as far as TV goes.
I only watch Saturday and Sunday night because there's a few programs in particular I like Father Brown, Midsummer
Okay.
Murders.
Yes, those are all great. Well, and it's funny. I've been watching
I
Canadian
tell
TV.
you what, Ruby, that is one county I do not want to live in the UK. Is Midsummer. I mean, I really don't know how they've got any population because somebody's getting killed every week.
Yeah. Well, it's the same in
Yeah.
Father Brown's Parish.
Yes. I've watched that before a few times. I've been watching. I've watched the entire series of Heartland. I'm waiting for January to get here for the 18th season.
Oh, I
And that's
haven't I haven't watched that.
if you like to see about horses and horse training and all, and it's beautiful scenery. Um, it's
No,
funny. It's all done by the Ontario. Um, Something about Ontario is one of the credits at the very end, but they talk like it's over in Western Canada.
no,
So which is it, west or east?
no, it's east.
Yeah, but it's in a mountainous setting. It's beautiful, beautiful scenery. Um, it's good cinematography. So I've enjoyed it. Looking forward to the 18th season. And then there was some. Oh, I'm probably the only one that's ever watched it. Um, Rex and Hudson, or Hudson and Rex. It's a police show with a dog. Um, a the primary police character has a German Shepherd police dog. That the dog is great.
Is it
So anyway,
is that the drama series or real life?
it's a drama series.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a drama series.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I've watched. I guess I've watched every episode of it. I think it's in its 5th season. It's current, so I see a new one every Thursday.
So is that it? I know in Turner and Hooch it wasn't a German Shepherd, but a bit like Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, it's that idea. It's that
Yeah,
same idea. Yeah,
I'm with you.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I've done my dude for today. I appreciate everybody coming in. I know the crowd is a little low because a lot of folks are over watching Martin Saban Smith, and that's fine. I like to watch Martin too. Um, but we just happen to he comes on at 2, I come on at 3, and he's probably finishing up pretty close to now. So that's okay. That's all right. Uh, Ruby has been working hard. You got anything coming up here shortly?
Just packing the van to go away next Wednesday. Set up for a demo I'm doing up north.
All right, all right. And getting ready for Harrogate coming up as well. And Wayne, you're
Yeah.
going to go to Harrogate, right?
It's around about. I think we're looking at around about 6 weeks now till
Oh
Harrogate.
my, time is short. Time is short.
Yeah, it'll go
All
by
right,
quickly.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, folks, good to see everybody. Ruby and Wayne, thank you guys so much for coming in
No,
and helping out.
anytime, Doug. Any
We
Doug.
And
enjoy it.
Any Doug time. Yeah, any Doug time.
whatever. You folks in the chat, glad to have you all as well. Come back next week and we'll have something else to do. So we'll talk to you all later. So bye bye.
Night
Bye-bye.
night.